Bienvenidos. Hola, me llamo Samuel. I would love to see you guys say hi in whatever your foreign language is. Please don't chat in tongues. I don't want to have to pray for the translation on that, for that to come through. Hope everyone's doing well. Obviously, I'm not Pastor Jordan. I got a tan and grew a foot. My name is Sam. There's Pastor Jordan. And today we're going to be talking about what are you craving? A message on hunger, desperation, and pursuing God.
Man, Gato, you look different today.
Yeah, I was telling him I got a tan.
Yeah, Gato got a tan
I
today.
got a tan, yeah.
Wow, 10 out of 10. Anyway, man, what a morning has it been? It's been such a morning. We're here. If you haven't been, today's day 2 of 6 a.m. prayer. And I'm going to be honest with you, because at first I know people are like, 6 a.m. prayer. But there's something about like this to 6 a.m. Your day is so much longer. You get so much more done. You find yourself not like, oh my gosh, like scrambling. When it's that early, you have time to catch up with your brain. And because we went to go get coffee this morning, and Sam was like sitting down, and I said, "Are you gonna say anything?" And you're like, "I woke up 30 minutes ago," and then here I am. So I mean, yeah. So this is not Gato, as you can tell.
It's not.
This is not Gato, despite popular belief. This is not Gato. He's a Mavs fan, so we're still contending for his salvation. Sam, your hat is gone.
Yeah, I was saying that green is a Mavs color, but when it turns red, it's kind of confusing.
There you go.
Dang, I feel like I don't look good with hats. Like
I think you look good. You look like a worship leader like that. No, tell me I'm wrong. Tell me, go put it back. Put it back.
I'm all right.
Because now it looks like you have a hole in your head.
A hole?
Yeah, look, that looks good. You look like you should be in Maverick leading a song right now.
Wow.
Not because you're black, but because...
Yeah. Chandler Moore.
Yeah, you look a little Chandler Morey.
Chandler Morey.
Better than Dante Bowie, right? Okay. But before we begin, let's get over these announcements. Let's get all the announcements out of the way. So let's, Jason, kick it off. What are we starting off with, announcement-wise? Let's go.
You already started talking about it.
All right, 21 days of prayer and fasting. We are in the second day of the 21 days. We're having it every day of the week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Can I finish? Friday, 6 a.m. But we are also doing the very same day, 6 p.m. prayer sessions. So if you weren't able to make it to the 6 a.m., do everything you can to be there for the 6 p.m. And, we're just fasting and praying. All right, next one. All right. Are you 18 to 35 years old? Do you need a place to connect with people your age? Then City Young Adults is the place for you. We have a service on Friday, January 16th at 7 p.m. in the Student Center. If you want to, I don't know how they're supposed to scan that if they're on their phone.
They can screenshot it and hold on it.
Screenshot it, screenshot it, and hold it down with your phone. And yeah, you can just scan there for some more information. And it's, it's always good to have friends. Let's go on. New Year's Freedom Bash. At these locations, 410, dude, the dyslexic guy. You're going to read the address. Go.
4101 Easton Meadows Drive, Garland, Texas, 75043. And 4569 Shaha Road, Garland, Texas 75043.
All right, yeah. Volunteers meet here at the church, or meet at site, not church. Ooh, I was about to just mess everything up right now. Meet at the site that you're gonna be serving at 10 a.m. Is that the last one, or is there more? One more. Super Soul Winning Saturday.
Super.
It's not just your regular soul winning. This is where the heroes come out. All right, Sam, you go over the.
Every Saturday, every first Saturday of the month, meet at the church at 9:45, and they'll go out to a certain location and win souls for the gospel.
You said that so beautifully.
Thank you.
Man, is this your first time?
I'm not going to plug my own.
You can do a plug for your own
I
thing
said
here.
I should have practiced doing this, but
Well, if you didn't know, Sam actually has his own live stream. Well, not live stream, his own podcast. Because you're not live.
I'm not live.
No, you pre-record it.
Yeah.
But
In case I say something ludicrous.
Luda,
Just kidding. Just kidding.
in case you have Ludacris on, what'd you say? But other than that, how's everybody doing today? This fine Tuesday morning. We're starting a new series, and we're gonna kick it off with Sam the man, Samuel, and who I've learned hates being called Sammy. But doesn't that make you want to call him Sammy even more?
The only people I like who call me Sammy are people who do it with like a Hispanic accent because it sounds better.
How does it sound?
They'd be like, Sammy. I was like, I like that. That sounds better than like.
That wasn't that bad.
Yeah, I don't like it's like the Sammy. I don't like.
You don't like Sammy? Yeah,
No.
Sammy.
Sammy, yeah, it's better.
Oh, yeah, Sammy.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. I can hear it. But that being said, if you're not coming to 6 a.m. prayer, if you're not fasting, you used to have a lot of people say, well, I'm fasting secular music. Well, that ain't a fast at all. You need to be fasting food. And I don't care what your schedule is like, there was 1 year, I had never really committed to a fast before. So I'm just going to not eat for the next 21 days. And by day 2, I'm dizzy and passing out and everything like that. Well, I had never done something like that before. And I've learned hey, you have to build it. You have to work up to that. And, people online I bet Pastor Jordan doesn't fast. I'm like, no, that ain't true. Because we fast every what? We fast all year. What do we do? What day do we fast? God, he's one of my leaders. What day do we fast?
Is this like a staff thing?
No, not a staff thing. Like a city youth leader thing.
I haven't been here in a year and a half. I don't know.
But it was implemented before you left. Man, I'm
Wednesday,
learning.
every Wednesday.
I'm learning now
Wednesday,
that Sam was not doing what we're. I challenged everyone every Wednesday.
I haven't needed to fast because I haven't been at youth in a Wednesday in a year and a half.
Yeah, but I would commit it to me. Anyway, they're I bet you they don't do it. They're not doing it. That was very unconvincing. But, we'd fast every Wednesday, believing for God to do extraordinary things in the service. And we saw pretty extraordinary things this year. This year's going to be even bigger, even better. We want more souls. We want to get into more high schools. We're believing to do more things on the campuses. So we're excited for everything God has in store for us. And let's just kick this off. We had gone over a series in youth this past month, and the series we're talking about hunger and thirst. Hunger and thirst. And blessed are those who hunger and thirst. Can you pull up Matthew 5:6? I have it right here. Matthew, Mark, and Luke, and John. Or do you have it?
Yeah, I got it.
You checking your emails? Okay, can you read it?
Sure. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they shall be filled.
Read it again.
Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they shall be filled.
One more time for the people in the back.
Blessed are those who hunger and
You messed it up. No. Now you're going to hell.
Who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they shall be filled.
Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they shall be filled. Whose righteousness? The Lord's righteousness. Those words are not just words. Those are words that are in red letters. Meaning Jesus spoke those words. And after speaking those words, hey, Dad, that's my dad.
Hi, Dad. Boogie woogie.
Oh, the vine? That's my dad. Boogie, woogie, woogie. Anyway, hey, Dad. We're going over hunger and thirst. And one of the reasons why I decided to go over this for youth and why we decided to go over this for, just as a whole series is we're just going to preach one message on it. What is happening? What's going on? Nice. Nicely done.
That was showing on the live stream.
Reason why we did that is because, in a place of receiving, especially in a new year, especially during this fast, especially during everyone contending for something that they're believing God to do or believing to take this to the very next level. And if that's something that you are yearning for, that's something that you want, man, every parent wants the best for their kid. Every good parent wants the best for their kid. God is a good parent. God is a good father. And there's nothing in the galaxy, nothing in existence that is better than God. So as a parent wanting the best thing for their kids, God wants to have a relationship with you. And not just that, but he wants you to be blessed. To be blessed. Turn your Bibles to Mark chapter 10, verse 46. Mark chapter 10, verse 46. Here, you read it. 46 to 45. 52, sorry.
Now they came to Jericho. As he went out of Jericho with his disciples and a great multitude, blind Bartimaeus, the son of Timaeus, sat by the road begging. And when he heard that it was Jesus of Nazareth, he began to cry out and say, Jesus, son of David, have mercy on me. Then many men warned him to be quiet, but he cried out all the more, Son of David, have mercy on me. So Jesus stood and commanded him to be called. And then they said to the man, then they called the blind man, saying to him, be of good cheer, rise, he is calling you. What was it?
52.
52. And throwing aside his garment, he arose and came to Jesus. So Jesus answered and said to him, what do you want me to do for you? And the blind man said to him, Rabboni.
This one.
It says Rabboni. Must be. Okay, I've never seen that before. Rabboni, that I may receive my sight. Then Jesus said to him, go your way, your faith has made you well. And immediately he received his sight and followed Jesus on the road.
So, blind Bartimaeus. So why are you talking about blind Bartimaeus getting his sight when we're talking about hunger and thirst? Well, the reason why we're doing that is because hunger and thirst are a characteristic. They are something that Jesus said, blessed are those who hunger and thirst for my righteousness, for they shall be filled. When Jesus said those words, well, what does it mean to be hungry and what does it mean to be thirsty? We were talking about just the other day how it was Reinhard Bonnke when that guy was preaching and saying, like, we need to make the Bible more relevant to today. We need to make the Bible more. Some preacher was saying that it's at some conference. Reinhard Bonnke stands up and says, like, I'm sorry, I beg your pardon, but bread does not have to be made relevant to a starving man. And so blind Bartimaeus is here. We have this example of someone in an act of desperation. An act of desperation. And when Jesus said, blessed are those who hunger and thirst. Well, let's go over it point by point. Blind Bartimaeus wasn't passive. He cried out louder when the crowd tried to shut him up. That's what hunger looks like. That's what desperation looks like. It refuses to be quiet. Now, blessed are those who hunger and thirst. Man, are you hungry and thirsty? Well, how are you hungry and thirsty? Quietly by yourself, alone in your room? Man, or is there a desperation that you need to get into the presence of God? You really know someone's desperate for change. You really know someone's desperate for what God has for them, dependent on what they do. You can gauge it. You can't always gauge where someone's at, but you can gauge a Christian's success based off of their fruit. You can gauge their effectiveness. You can gauge their desperation. I was teaching in Bible school last night, worship as a lifestyle, and a couple years ago, I had a youth pastor get a hold of me and say, hey, I have a question for you. My youth doesn't know how to worship. So I've been thinking about doing a series on worship. They don't know how to respond to that. And I said, okay, don't do a series on worship, because if they're not worshiping, that means they don't know how to pray. If you teach them how to pray, then they know, one, the power their words have, and then two, that worship, when we sing these songs, we're speaking to the Lord. We're singing to the Lord. So, man, there has to be that shift. There has to be that change. There has to be that, okay, well, now I know what I'm doing wrong. Let me go and give my best to adjust that and go after it the right way. We have here blind Bartimaeus. Blind Bartimaeus is desperate. He needs a healing. And I like what you had read. He says he threw his garments away. He's blind. I love that so much, because in my perspective, in my heart, it feels like, hey, I'm not coming back. I'm not coming back to this spot. Jesus is calling me. Laters, Bartimaeus teaches us you cannot receive what you are not hungry for. You cannot preach what you are not practicing. You cannot have revival with a silent appetite. He refused to stay where he was because desperation pushes you forward. Hunger is proof you believe Jesus can change everything. Well, why is this so important? Why is this so adaptable? Well, one thing is hunger is what you want. Hunger is what you're going after. Well, blessed are those who hunger and thirst. Okay, well, what does hunger mean? Hunger is I need the Lord. Thirst is the level of urgency. Thirst is urgency. You ever watch like those survival shows?
Yeah.
And they say, what's the number one thing you have to find before food, before shelter? You have to find
Water.
Water is the number one thing that you have to find. If you don't find water, you're screwed. You're done. And, Jesus uses this as the example. He uses this as the gauge. Okay, well, look, if you're hungry, great. I know you want the Lord, but are you desperate? Because it's not just hunger that gets it. It has to be hunger and thirst. You want to say something?
Yeah. So I was watching this survival YouTuber guy, and he was saying people say like you can only survive about 3 days without water, but in reality, you can only really do one. Day 2, you're cramping, you can't really function, and day 3, you're basically just lying there waiting to die. Speaking of hunger, James 1:5 in the ESV says, if any of you lacks wisdom, let him ask God, who gives generously to all without reproach, and it will be given to him. We can see that same attitude with all other spiritual gifts, whether it's healing or salvation, that if you ask God for something, he will give it to you, because he's a rewarder of those who diligently seek him. And we see that with blind Bartimaeus when Jesus says, what would you want me to do for you? In verse 51, he says, what would you want me to do for you in the NLT? But in the New King James, he says, the same thing. What do you want me to do for you? I thought it was going to be more profound. I thought it was going to hit harder. But it's the same thing. He asked the same question. But you know what?
That is actually a little profound if you think about it. Yeah. Because the question doesn't change.
Yeah.
The question, in every translation, in Greek, the question doesn't change. Man, what do you want him to do for you? Man, you have to say it.
Yeah.
You have to speak it. Point number 1. Hunger makes you reach. Desperate people don't wait, they move. Bartimaeus threw off his cloak representing identity, comfort, the normal routines, the old him, the person that he was, what he was going through. And hunger causes you to drop anything that slows you down. And I'm going to add on to that, and anything that you're going to go back to. Man, because, it's going to slow you down, fine, whatever. But I have no intentions to coming back to what I used to have. To coming back to no. He brought me this far. Jesus is standing right there. I'm not going back. Matthew 5:6, God blesses those who hunger and thirst for his righteousness, for they will be filled. Psalms 42, verse 1 and 2, as a deer longs for a stream of water, I thirst for God. As my soul panteth for the water, as a deer panteth for water, so my soul yearns for you. Kenneth Hagin said, the measure of spiritual hunger The measure of your spiritual hunger is the measure of God's power you will walk in. I'm going to read that again. The measure of your own spiritual hunger is the measure of God's power you will walk in. That being said, what have you refused to drop? What have you refused to quit going back to that is either holding back your hunger or getting in the way? Man, sometimes people, genuinely hungry people, you never have to ask. You never have to wander. It's evident. It's right there in front of you. Mm. It's these men. I don't ever have to wonder if Sam is desperate for the Lord. Man, I never have to wonder if, my wife is, I never have to wonder. There are people that you can see it. Why? Because hunger, you pick it up. There are fruits that come with that. There are fruits that come with desperation. Man, blind Bartimaeus, he heard that Jesus was in town. And that's the type of desperation. They still call him blind Bartimaeus. He's been seeing for a long time now, But why? Because of what the Lord did. Point number 2. You can read point number 2.
Hunger makes you ignore the crowd. How quickly do you respond when God calls you to surrender something?
Turn the page over.
Oh, shoot. My bad. Hunger makes you unembarrassed. Bartimaeus was told to be quiet, but spiritual hunger refuses to be socially acceptable.
That's good. Jeremiah 29:13. If you look for me wholeheartedly, you will find me. It's NLT. James 4:8. Come close to God, and God will come close to you. He's not hiding from you, And look, this is a live stream. This is something that everybody knows. This isn't new information. We're not breaking new ground here. But why are we talking about this now? Why is this something that we're going on live stream now? Why is Sam here helping with this topic? Because regardless of the season, you'll have people who are working so much after the Lord that they forget all about him. Regardless of the season, it's your responsibility to keep that hunger and to keep that thirst. It's not God's. It's not your spouse's. It's not a situation or circumstance. In all seasons, it is your responsibility to stay hungry and thirsty. And when you get to the point to where you're already kind of like making this mental check, you see people do it. You see people in the congregation say like, hey, they'll be like while Pastor Ryan's preaching or while anyone's preaching, they'll be like, okay, that's not me because technically I'm like this or like that. And they're building a case in their defense like they're on trial here. When in reality, the Word of God's trying to convict you and you're over here trying to fail how you don't technically fit in this place because of some gray areas. No. Look at what God's trying to tell you. Man, I don't care if you're a 30-year experience minister. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst, because the moment you're no longer hungry, the moment you're no longer thirsty, the moment you've already arrived, can you call yourself even blessed? Can you? Man, because you'll see it. You'll see. And you were even just talking to me about like how people at ORU are their theological majors and still have no idea.
It's true.
Still have no idea who the Lord is. Pastor Rodney says, God touches the hungry, the desperate pull virtue out of heaven. The question we're asking you is this: whose opinion is louder in your life, the crowd's or God's?
What's funny is that's one of the reasons why Saul lost his covenant with the Lord is because I was reading in 1 Samuel, I think it's 15, where Saul was waiting on Samuel to do an offering for before they went into battle, and a lot of the soldiers were losing their morale. They were deserting and stuff like that. They thought they were going to lose, and they didn't want to die, so they were already just quitting and leaving. But so Saul was like, "Oh well, I'll start the offering because Samuel isn't here," and because he didn't make an offering to God with the right attitude, whenever Samuel came, he rebuked Saul in front of everybody. And that was one of the first sins that Saul committed, and then it cascaded on to him losing his whole covenant. But one of the key things that Saul never did was that he never repented with the whole heart. He was always justifying his actions. And that's one of the reasons, that's one of the ways that you lose your hunger for God, is because you'll never know that if you never admit that you need God, you'll never want God.
That's good. If you never admit that you need God, you'll never want him. You know, that's so ironic because you'll have someone that has like a bad experience, or maybe they're believing for something and it ended in a different way that they were believing for. Well, then that turns into an offense. And that offense, man, the one person that was once on fire for the Lord, that was once serving, that was once hungry. And you know what's crazy about this and why a hunger and thirst is so detrimental is because it helps you build a foundation. A hunger and thirst for his righteousness, to live right in the sight of God, to obey his law, to yearn and go after him, to want his presence, to want his will, to obey his word. Man, guess what? That starts to build a foundation. Even to where when God left Saul, Saul was worried that God would take the kingdom.
That's right.
But then when God left David, when David sinned in the eyes of the Lord, David says, take everything, but take not your spirit from me, O Lord.
That's right.
So Saul was worried about the kingdom. David was worried about his relationship with the Lord. And because of that desperation, man, that's why it's Jesus, son of David, and not Saul, son of David. That's why it kept David a man after God's own heart. Because his priority was, man, God, it's just you and me. It's you and me. You know, you were even telling me right now, well, I won't get into that. But everything else is second place.
That's right.
Everything else is second place. First place is me and God and what he wants for my life.
That's true.
Amen. Point number 3. Hunger makes you cry out. You can read that.
Hunger cannot stay silent. Bartimaeus shouted until Jesus stood still. Heaven responds to the voices of desperation.
Psalms 34:17, NLT. Lord hears his people when they call him. Joel 2:12. Give me your hearts. Come with fasting, weeping, and mourning. Pastor Jonathan Shuttlesworth says the proof of desire is pursuit. If there's no pursuit, there's no desire. That's good.
It's true.
That's good. In layman's term, the proof is in the pudding. The proof is in the pudding. Man, you can't tell me, a couple years ago when I first auditioned to the worship team in Tampa, my first audition went terribly because I had just done this whole speech on how worship is my life, how I came from Laredo just to pursue worship and whatever, yada, yada. And so I auditioned and the pastor says, okay, well, can you play this song? And I said, I don't know that one. He says, okay, well, do you know this one? And I said, I don't know that one either. Well, it turns out there was an email that they sent me that I was supposed to learn these songs. And so he says, you didn't check the email? And I said, no, I don't really check my emails. And he says, well, it's ironic that you tell me worship is your lifestyle. You can't even check an email about this. So I said, no, you're not going to be in the team. Dude, that humbled me. That humbled me because I put a lot of talk into God. It's all about you, Lord. It's all about you, Lord. It's what you want, Lord. It's your will, not mine, Lord. It's this. But then, hey, man, put your money where your mouth is, man. Is that something that's true? Do your actions reflect that statement? When was the last time God heard your hunger, not just your routine prayer? When was the last time God genuinely heard from you in an act of desperation? Man, I don't care if your situation is a desperate one. You could be having the best year of your life. Never do I want to get to the place where I'm comfortable without the presence of the Lord. Why? Because that means my spirit's dead.
That's right.
Point number 4. You can read that, Sam.
Hunger changes your response to Jesus. When Jesus called Bartimaeus, he jumped up. Hunger produces instant obedience. No hesitation, no delay.
John 14:15, if you love me, you will obey my commands. That's Jesus. Psalm 63:1, I earnestly search for you. My whole being longs for you. Stephen Frederick once said, God can only fill the space you make available.
That's good.
You have anything you want to say?
That proof of desire is pursuit. You can tell if somebody's hungry because they'll leave their house to go and get food. You can say you're hungry all the time, but there's a McDonald's on every corner, and if I don't see you there, you must not be hungry enough.
Well, I mean, maybe you're not for McDonald's.
Well, maybe you're not from McDonald's, but The Bible says in Psalms 92:13, they that are planted in the house of the Lord, they flourish in the courts of their God. If you feel like you're not flourishing in your life, you may not be in the courts of your God as much as you need to be. We have prayer and fasting twice a day. But
I'm desperate. I'm just busy.
that's right.
No. I'm desperate. It's just I had a long day. No, trust me. I'm desperate. It's
Right.
just my schedule won't let me.
Yeah.
You're right. No, keep going.
If you need a word from God, how much are you talking to him? Praying in tongues, how much are you believing? I think it's the first chapter of Revelation. The whole book of Revelation is contingent on this first chapter. And John says, I was in the Spirit on the Lord's day. That's how the first part of of Revelation goes. I was in the Spirit on the Lord's day, and then I turned around and Jesus was there. His tongue was like flames of fire and all that kind of stuff.
All that kind of stuff. That's what John said.
But
All that kind of stuff is
but
crazy.
if you need a word from God, where are you? Are you in the Spirit on the Lord's day? Where are you at in church? If you need something from God, he says he's not going to withhold anything from them. He gives good gifts to them who love him. But if you're again, it's like we said before, the proof of desire is pursuit.
You know what's so important about hunger and thirst is it keeps you alive. Hunger and thirst keeps you alive. Let's think physically, okay? I love this show called Alone. Now I've heard comedians talk about it because Alone is not just subject to America. There's like Australian Alone. There's like a European Alone. Australian Alone, boo. That's what I was. Because there's an Australian right there. I heard an Australian comedian, and he was talking about Americans. He says, have y'all watched the American version of Alone? And he says, it's insane. Those people that they have on those things are insane. There was one guy that says, I have no children, no wife, and nothing to lose. And he was like there to die. Like he was willing to. And so periodically you'll have these doctors that'll go check up on them, measure, like weigh them, kind of do a whole physical on them. And if they're too malnourished, they're disqualified. And so they have to find a source of food. They have to find, and if that hunger and thirst, man, it'll keep you alive. You'll see people, the number one thing they leave for, number one thing is food. They aren't able to find food. And that hunger and desperation tells you two things. It tells you, one, you're alive. And two, God's not done with you. He's not finished with you. Man, if I ever get to the place where I'm no longer hungry and I'm no longer thirsty, it's not on the Lord. It's on me. It's on me. Question, how quickly do you respond when God calls you to surrender something? How long does it take? How many hoops do you have to be jumped through? Man, I don't want that to be me. I don't want that, the Lord. You want to know why? Because you just mentioned Saul. Because if I don't answer it, he'll have someone else do it.
That's right.
If I don't answer this, man, if you're not hungry and thirsty, it keeps you alive. But guess what? That being alive means your spirit is alert.
That's good.
Alert. Man, you want it to be hard to hear from the Lord? Try to receive from him in a season where you've been slacking.
Yeah.
Try to hear from him. It's not that he's not talking to you. You just can't hear him.
Yeah.
That's what this whole season of fasting and prayer is for. And the irony to be hungry and thirsty in a fast, to talk about hunger and thirst in a fast. The irony, and it's not lost on me, the irony is, man, it's going to alert your spirit. I believe one of my buddies, Sarah Vitalich, she was on her, I saw it on Instagram, and she was talking about, hey, this fast, why we're fasting and why we're praying is to, sometimes it's not that God's not talking. Sometimes it's not. It's just that there are so many other voices going on right now that it kind of just blocks them all out and zeroes in on the Lord, to where you can hear from the Lord, to where you can receive from the Lord. It makes it clear. It makes it it gets your spirit in a place, okay, well, now I'm ready to take on this new chapter, this new thing that God has for me. Man, Jesus even said it himself. Jesus fasted and prayed. Who are you to not fast and pray? Who are you not to be hungry and thirsty? There's no Christian I know that can maintain their faith without a hunger and desperation for the Lord. You can't do it. You're not saved off technicalities. You're saved off your response. You're saved off your decision. Amen? Let's do the last point. Hey, we did good. We did real good. Last point. Point number 5. Hunger leads to transformation. Bartimaeus didn't just get his sight. He followed Jesus down the road. Hunger doesn't end at the encounter. It becomes a lifestyle. Guess what? That desperation to see Jesus, to get that healing from Jesus, didn't end there. He walked the rest of the way with the Lord. You know, we get this story of Obed-Edom, and he's the one that when David was bringing back the Ark of the Covenant, the ark fell and killed someone who tried to stop it from falling. And so David's like, whoa, hold up, everyone stop. He wasn't doing things the right way. They were praising, they were happy, the covenant's back. But remember, it's the presence of the Lord. It killed somebody.
Right.
And so David said, all right, well, all of this is going down. He takes the ark and he tells this man named Obed-Edom, he says, hey, this is going to stay in your house. And Obed-Edom is the king. You can't say no, he'll kill you. So Obed-Edom said, fine. So the Ark of the Covenant was chilling at Obed-Edom's house. And a couple months later, news gets back to David that Obed-Edom's house is so blessed. Is everything that he has multiplied. Everything that he did was blessed. And David says, let's go get the ark. So he goes to get the ark. And you read, and when you go through Numbers and you find out Obed-Edom, what he did for the rest of his life is he was the doorkeeper to the Holy of Holies. Right. He was the doorkeeper to the Ark of the Covenant. What does this mean? This means that after having the presence of God in his house, when they came to take the ark, he said, wherever that thing is, that's where I'm going to be too.
That's good.
Wherever the presence of the Lord is, that's where you'll find me. And guess what? He wasn't just the only doorkeeper, but his son and his grandson were the doorkeepers to the Holy of Holies. It built a love for the presence of the Lord. Amen? Philippians 3:13, pressing forward is the posture of hunger. Can you pull up Philippians 3?
The whole chapter?
Yeah, I'm going to read the whole 13, 14. I want to see what it says in New King James. Philippians. Chapter, verse 13 and 14.
It starts at 12.
Read it.
Pressing towards the goal. Not that I have already attained or am already perfected, but I press on that I may lay hold of that for which Christ has also laid hold of me. Brethren, I do not count myself to have apprehended, but one thing I do, forgetting those which are behind and reaching forward to those things which are ahead. I press towards the goal for the prize of the upward call of God in Jesus Christ.
Man, pressing forward, moving on, letting this thing that God's put in you transform who you are, allowing this process to happen. There's a reason and a purpose in everything that the Bible tells us to do. Understand that there is a posture of hunger. There's a posture of desperation. You can see it. When I was a little boy and we would go to Mexico with my family, we would walk across the bridge, and down there's like this chain link fence that went all the way across the bridge. And there are these long pipes. Some of it, what time was bamboo, but there are these long pipes with cups at the end of the pipes that was up leaning into the chain link fence. And it was kids, and mostly they had kids do it, and people begging for change and begging for money. And it messed with me, man. It came to the point where my dad wouldn't take me to the mission trips to Mexico anymore because I couldn't sleep for days.
Oh.
Because knowing that there are kids that are right behind my house, they're right in my neighborhood, right in where I live, that are that desperate, that need that much. And one thing that you'll never forget is you'll never forget a position of desperation. You'll never forget a position. It's an easily recognizable thing. And here we are. Man, can you honestly say, man, maybe you have been desperate. Maybe you've been desperate before, but have you kept that desperation? Have you kept that hunger? Understand that hunger and thirst is something that you have to actually maintain. It's not something that you decide to do. You make the decision, and then you have to maintain it. Keep yourself hungry. Keep yourself thirsty. Keep yourself desperate. Lord, I want to be able to hear you at all times. I want to be able to feel you at all times. I want to be able to know what you want me to do. And if doing that makes me hungry and thirsty, then Lord, so be it. Psalms 119:10. I have tried hard to find you. Don't let me wander. Smith Wigglesworth said, if you seek nothing, you'll find nothing. But if you seek after God, you'll find everything. Question we're going to end this live stream is this. Is your hunger changing you, or are you staying in the same year after year? Are you staying the same year after year? Is your hunger changing you? You want to know proof that the hunger is real? You want to know proof that your hunger is real? There is a product. It's called change. It's change. How can you gauge a Christian's desperation? By the fruit you see in their life. There's a fruit. And guess what? Fruit is not the object of what we're trying to obtain. It's the byproduct of our relationship with the Lord. I need patience. Lord, give me patience. Lord, give me. No, patience comes with your relationship with the Lord. That patience grows. Love, joy, peace, patience, gentleness, kindness, faithfulness, goodness, self-control. These are things that come. You have to live a disciplined life. Something has to change. You know, Albert Einstein said his definition of insanity was doing something the same way, expecting a different result. You can't keep going about it the same way. You can't keep doing things the same way. You can judge everybody and their dogs all you want. But are you the one that's doing this? Are you the one that's getting desperate? Are you the one that's getting before the Lord? Man, you can talk about discipline till the cows come home. But then here we are, discipline. And what's great, I'm so glad you said that. The great thing about discipline is that it's a continual exercise.
That's right.
Man, you don't stop. You know, I'm looking at this little Aussie bodybuilder here. And little is sarcastic, by the way. He's not little. When I grew up, they used to call me Flaco. And they did it sarcastically. You know, Flaco means, you know, skinny. And so I'm looking at this little bodybuilder over here. And I know, was it a week ago, maybe? He comes up to me and he shows me this little like library card. Do you have it with you? Yes, you do. You're lying to me. Next live stream, I'll show you. He's checking. Well, he shows me this little library card, and the little face on that library card, I couldn't believe that it was the bodybuilder that was standing in front of me, because Jason is shredded, but you look at that dweeby little kid, and I'm like, oh my gosh. Man, well, thank God that discipline happened. Thank God that discipline, you didn't get like this overnight. It happened over a period of time. Sam is one of the best piano players I know. Didn't start that way, though.
No.
No. Did not start that way.
No, it did not.
What happened?
I practiced every day at 6 a.m. before I went to school.
Before you went to school?
Before I went to school.
In your fedora?
No. I was not wearing a fedora at 6 a.m.
No, but in school you went to the fedora.
Oh, yeah. No.
Because the ladies love the fedora.
My mom did. That's the most important lady. That's the most important lady in your life.
Well,
besides your wife.
Yeah, besides your wife.
Besides your
You're not married yet. So right now, yeah, your mom's the most important lady. Yeah. She says I'm handsome, you know. My mom, you know. Anyway, dude, your mom told you the fedora looked good. You went to school in a fedora, bro.
I think I just did what my mom told me to do.
What a good boy, dude. Isn't that little Sam? Do you have your voicemail still?
No. Oh, no, I don't have it.
It was cute. All right. Dangers of not being hungry. what's the difference of the opposite of hunger and thirst is complacency. Complacency kills miracles. Hunger creates expectation. Hunger sets you up to receive. Complacency keeps you stagnant. The dangers of complacent heart: your heart becomes numb. Your prayer life becomes silent. You settle for spiritual leftovers. You're easily deceived by culture, by impression, man. And it's so important too, because we're in the last days. And God's coming for those who are spiritually alert. You miss divine moments and opportunities. You begin living off past encounters instead of current fire. That's so good. Biblical blindness returns, just like Bartimaeus could have stayed in the dark forever. You begin living off past encounters instead of current fire. Man, we're not supposed to keep new wine in old wineskins. You're not supposed to stay off of that high back in 83. But you're supposed to go from glory to glory, from strength to strength. He has something new. And in this season, in this new year, he has something new and better than last year. But it's only up to you to receive it. It's only up to you to walk in it. But you have anything you want to close off with? You have anything you want to say?
Did you already do this?
Yeah, I just went through that.
Oh, okay. No, I'm good.
Thanks for joining us today. Thanks, sir. He'll talk your ear off if you let him, man. Jesus.
Yeah.
We love you guys. Please make sure that you're here at 6 p.m. tonight. Prayer is going to be happening. If not, you can still make it tomorrow, the rest of the week at 6 a.m. And, we have service this Wednesday. Come expecting, come desperate, come hungry, and know that God has something extraordinary for you. We love you, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.